Why is it that we are so quick to say yes to other people without even thinking about what it is that we're committing to? Why is it that it's so easy for us to say yes to others and what it is they want us to do without first checking in with us? So if you ever felt overcommitted, overextended, lost yourself trying to be everything to everyone, this episode is for you. It is. Welcome to the Me, Myself, and Why podcast. I am Amy Ricks. I am your host on today. So before we get into the topic, I want you to go get comfortable. If you need to pause right now, go ahead and do so. I want you to go. I want you to change your clothes. You're just getting home from work. I want you to slip into something comfortable. And then I want you to have a seat on that favorite spot, whether it's in your bed, whether it's on your couch. I want you to just be so comfortable and so ready to explore today, okay? Again, this is the Me, Myself, and Why podcast. This is where we explore who we are and why it is that we do what we do, unpacking us, you, one truth at a time. You ever sat back and thought about what are some of the things that you say yes to? Like if you are asked a question, hey, can you pick up such and such from the train? Do you automatically say yes without first considering if you actually can? Have you been asked, are you like the designated person to ask when something is needed to be done, whether it's an inconvenience to yourself or not? Are you the yes person in your family? Are you the yes person in your friendship circle? Are you the yes person? And what I mean by the yes person, I'm not just saying that someone that is very helpful, right? Someone that will go out of their way to make sure everything and everyone is okay. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the person that says yes without counting up the cost. The person that says yes without first understanding what it is that you're committing to. Because you know that whatever you say yes to, you're actually supposed to do, right? Your yay should be yay and your nay should be nay, right? You ever find yourself in a position where you said yes to something, and when you think about it, you be like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have said yes or said it so fast. Or you ever said to yourself, dang, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's like, can I do it? Is that you? Listen, I'm happy that you're here. Have a seat. Let's talk about this. I want to ask you something. Let me see if you can relate to this. What has saying yes cost you? I want you to think about it. What has saying yes cost you? For some people, it's cost money. For some people, it has cost time. For some people, it has cost relationships. For some people, it has cost sleep. Okay? But I really want you to think about this. Why is it that you struggle to say no? That's the topic for today. Why do I struggle with saying no? And how many of us have heard that no is a complete sentence, right? And when we say no, we don't have to say it in a mean, nasty, or disrespectful way, but we can say it matter-of-factly. Hey, are you able to pick up such and such from the train station? Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Hey, are you able to stay after work for about 30 minutes so that we can finish what it is that we need to work on? I'm sorry, but no, I cannot. But why is it that when we say no, for some of us, we get that feeling of anxiety within. We get that feeling of fear. We get that feeling of, oh Lord, what is this no going to cost me? Some of us are more concerned about the cost of our no to others as opposed to the cost of the yes to us. You understand what I'm saying? So let's break this down, okay? Why is it that we struggle to say no? Why is it that you struggle to say no? And I'm talking about for those of us that it is an actual struggle. For those of us that, hey, I don't have no problem saying no. Amen. More power to you. I'm talking about those of us that struggle with saying no. Listen, I want to put this disclaimer out there, okay? This is a safe space. We're not here to judge anybody, okay? Because truth be told, everybody got something. Everybody got something wrong with them, right? Everybody has something that they're working on. Everyone has something that they want to better themselves at, okay? So I don't want you feeling ashamed. I don't want you to feel alone. I don't want you to feel like something's wrong with you if you feel like you're not as forward in something that you would like to be, or as ahead in a particular area in your life that you would like to be. So now that that's out of the way, I want you to think about why it is that you struggle with saying no. Why is it that you struggle with saying no? Okay, let's explore some reasons why it is challenging for us to say no. Okay, one of the reasons why is a fear of rejection. That R word, a fear of rejection, a fear of disappointing others. Right? It does something to us when someone asks us for something. And even if especially when we genuinely cannot do it, just the thought of forming that on our lips to them, it does something to us. We get a little anxious inside. We feel that inner turmoil because we don't want them to feel as if we aren't dependable or they won't like us anymore. And you'd be surprised that there are 30 something, 20 something, 30 something, 40 something, 50-year-old young little girls and little boys within us, right? So naturally we could be one age. Emotionally, we could be another age. Mentally, we can be one age. Spiritually, we can be one age. We could be all these different ages. And I didn't find that out. A shout out to my pastor, the Apostle Strata King of Keys Ministry. Whoop, whoop. So a lot of us, whether we really know it or not, at one point in time, has not felt good when it came to disappointing others, especially when it's those whom we love. Because who wants to disappoint the people that you love? It may not be as intense when it comes to saying no to someone that we aren't as familiar with or have relationships with. But I'm talking about for those of us that have those close-knit relationships. And there is a fear that is there, or an uncomfortability that when you actually and genuinely cannot do something, there is a struggle with you saying no. Could it also be that we struggle with people pleasing? Okay. And in our people pleasing, our identity has been tied to being needed, right? It does something to us. It makes us feel good when people need us, right? It makes us feel good that we can be put in a position to make someone else's day or to help someone, right? Or to be with someone in their time of need. But what happens when it goes to an unhealthy place? That when we have allowed for their smiles or their approval or their validation becomes something that we now have surrounded our identity around. Why is it that you struggle to say no? What is it that causes you to want to please people? And I want you to think about this. And as you think about it, I want you to start saying it aloud. Could it be that I struggle with people please or struggle with saying no because I want to please those who are around me? And not that you don't want to I'm not talking about when you want to genuinely bless someone, you want to be mindful of someone. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about to a point where it is unhealthy, where it is doing something to you, where it is affecting you. It is interrupting the shalom, the peace that should be within you, to the point where you have allowed for someone's response to what it is that you do dictate whether or not you're going to have a good day, dictate whether or not you are going to be happy or not. Do we struggle with saying no because we have allowed for our identity to be tied to being needed? Do we struggle with saying no because we've developed this people pleasing way of life? Could it be? Could another reason why we struggle with saying no is because we've been conditioned in a way to feel guilty for saying no? Have you ever had an interaction with someone where when you did say no, that they made you feel guilty for doing so? That they forgot about all the 11 other times that you have said yes, but the one time you said no, the one time that you set that boundary, or the one time you genuinely could not do it, their response made you feel bad. It made you second guess whether or not that boundary should have even been there. It made you start questioning, or it led you to, let me say this, start questioning the boundaries that you have in place. Now, let me say this for the record. It could possibly be that some boundaries that we do have up, we shouldn't, right? Just like there are boundaries that we should have up, but we don't. But all of this that I'm speaking of today, I'm talking about in an unhealthy way. Okay? In an unhealthy. It is healthy. Listen to me. Listen to me. It is healthy to have boundaries. It is very healthy to have boundaries. Now, in saying that, make sure that the boundaries that you do have are realistic, are healthy as well. Okay? Make sure that these boundaries that you are setting up are not putting you in a place of being selfish, right? Or just thinking about you. Again, I want to discuss this from in the purpose and in the hopes of us being healthy and whole. Okay? That's why I said this is not it's a no judgment zone. It's a no judgment zone. But we're going to unpack this. Okay? Struggling to say no because you've been made to feel guilty for doing so. Or if it's wrong to say no. Or as if when you say no, it's almost as if you're saying a curse word. And let me say this to you. Some people don't like being told no. There are some people who simply just do not like being told no, or are not being used to being told no. They are used to having things their way. They are used to having people do whatever it is that they tell them to do, whether it inconveniences them or not. However, moving forward today, we're not going to allow for guilt or our identities to be tied to being needed that will cause us to have that struggle with saying no. Okay? Okay. And I want to go back to something that we discussed about the lack of boundaries, okay? Another reason why we struggle with saying no is because the lack of boundaries that we do have, it stems from a place of a lack of self-worth, right? That it's okay for you to say no. You are not a bad person if you say no. You are not a horrible person if you say no. Some of us have been taught along the line that boundaries are only for those who are selfish. Who told you that? Boundaries are only for those that are in authoritative roles or leaders or are older than you. Who told you that? I want you to think, for those of us that this particular area right here, the lack of boundaries and being told, you somewhere along the line you establish the belief that being told no or you saying no makes you a bad person. I want you to go back to that very moment when you first believed that. I want you to go back to that situation, wherever it was, whether it was a conversation, whether it was a situation, whether it was a relationship or friendship, whatever it was. I want you to go back to that moment. And I want you to think about where it started. Where did this begin? Where did I start believing and feeling like saying no was a bad thing? Where did it start from? Did it start from, was it a situation where you felt rejected when you said no? You felt abandoned when you said no. You felt that you were someone made you feel guilty for saying no. I want you to think back to that moment, okay? I want you to think back to the moment that when you said no, it had an adverse reaction or an adverse response to you saying no. And I want you to think about this. I want you to think about a time in your life where you said yes, but you really wanted to say no. Think about a time where you said yes when you really wanted to say no. Do you have that moment in your mind? Are you thinking about it right now? Now, here's a question I want you to consider before you answer. I want you to think about it, okay? All right, you ready for it? Why? Why? Why is it that you said yes when you really wanted to say no? Why? Why did you do that? What was it in you that made you say yes when you when you really wanted to say no? Did you feel obligated? Were you scared of saying no? Did you feel guilty? Did you feel bad? What is it? Or it could have been, I said no because I just simply didn't want to. I said yes. Or do you ever find yourself saying yes because you just don't feel like hearing the other person's mouth or anything that would come with you saying no? Some of us, do you know that some of us struggle with saying no because we want to keep the peace? We think that by saying yes, we'll keep the peace. But what it does, it keeps the peace, or keeps, it's not necessarily it keeps the peace. It removes the opportunity for confrontation. That's what it is. It's like, you know what? Let me say yes because I just don't feel like having to deal with all that comes with me saying no. I just don't feel like dealing with it. Have you dealt with that? Is that why you struggle with saying no? Is that why you're just like, you know what? Let me just say yes because I don't feel like it today. Is that what it is? I want you to repeat this after me, okay? I want you to repeat after me. Okay, you ready? Saying no does not make me bad. It makes me honest. Saying no does not make me bad. It makes me honest. Some of us struggle with being honest. And that's what it is. We go back to the truth. We are so used to the phrase of the truth hurts, but the word of God tells us that it sets us free. It sets us free. We shall know the truth, and the truth will set us free. So if you want to be free, that means you also want to share and receive the truth. Okay. So what do we do now to put ourselves in a position where we're no longer struggling with saying no? Okay. The first thing I want you to do is to pause before responding. Take that moment to see if this is something that you can truly commit to. Okay. Hey, can you take such and such to the train station Saturday at 5? Take a moment and think, can I really take such and such to the train station Saturday at 5? Well, you know what? I have to work. I don't get off of work until 5:30. So you know what? No, I'm not able to take such and such to the train station at 5. Now, for some of us, it's like that. Oh, but I'll see if I could get out of work early or whatever. Now, certain circumstances, may warrant us to have to move some things around. I'm not talking about those urgent things or those emergent things. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about when you are in a space where it's unhealthy for you to continue to keep saying yes to things that you know that you should not be saying yes to. And you have that internal struggle. No, 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 no. We're moving forward from that, okay? So the first thing I want you to do moving forward is to pause before responding. Consider and count up the cost. Is this something that I can do? It's okay to be willing to do it, right? Because that's another thing. It's okay to be willing to help, to be willing to be able to move certain things around. That's not an issue. I'm talking about the times that even with being willing, where it may not be feasible, whether physically, financially, emotionally, or what have you. But even despite that, because you are motivated or moved by fear or guilt or people pleasing, it's like, I have to say yes. That is what I'm talking about. Okay? The second thing is, I want us to practice saying no with compassion. Okay? You don't have to be rude or disrespectful in saying no. You could say, you know what? Oh, I would love to be able to pick up such and such at the train on Saturday at 5. However, I'm unable to because of work. You know what? Let me see, or let me think about who else can help him, right? Let me think about, you're solutionary. There's nothing wrong with being solutionary, right? If you can't physically do it, but you can assist in the solution and finding someone else to do it. See, that's the thing. It's okay to be solutionary. It's okay to make suggestions. It's okay if you cannot do it. It's okay if you say no. That means we have to find the person who can say yes, right? Because for whatever it is, depending on the circumstance, it has to get done, right? The next thing I want you to remember this, that no is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence. Can I borrow $1,000? No. Can I borrow your car? I'll be right back in like 5 minutes. No. I've seen your car. I've seen your car, and you're not gonna treat my car like you do your car. You can treat your car that way, but you're not gonna treat my car that way. No. No is a complete sentence. And here's this last tip I want to give you, this last thing, and it's so important, okay? I want you to listen to me. Listen, okay? We're going to do this together, okay? I'm holding your hand right now as I say this, okay? I want you to listen to me. There's another thing I want you to do, so that could be less of a struggle with saying no, okay? I want us to start honoring ourselves the way we honor others. Let's start honoring ourselves the way that we honor others. Okay? And let me tell you something. I have, with people pleasing, I've struggled with that. I have. With wanting to be liked and accepted, and that dealt with, abandonment issues that stems from my childhood, right? But it's like, what's so amazing? The more I get to know me and truly who I am, the more I am so interested in being her. It's like, wow, okay, this is who I'm supposed to be. So now I have to learn how to live that way, how to act that way, how to speak that way, and do so every single day. And guess what? You can do it too. Let us start honoring ourselves the way that we honor others. Okay? Can we do that? Let us start doing that. So as we prepare to close for today, I want us to truly think about why it is that we struggle, or used to, come on now, struggle with saying no. No is not a bad word. Saying no does not make you a bad person, okay? It's okay for us to honor ourselves the way that we honor others. And I want to leave you with this, okay? Where is that one place in your life, okay? That one place in your life where you are ready to stop saying yes when your heart, your soul, and your spirit is screaming no. Think about the areas in your life where you need to say no. That relationship that you should not be in, you need to say no. Those conversations with people that you should not be conversing with, you need to say no. That toxic friendship, that toxic communication that you have, that you should not be engaging in, you need to say no. Let us start saying no to the things, the people, the circumstances, the conversations that no longer serve us, so that we can say yes to us, okay? Deal? Deal. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you, because I know it's been helpful to me, okay? It's been very helpful to me. And if it has been helpful to you, please leave a comment letting me know just how helpful this has been to you. And if it's really been helpful to you, I want you to share this with your friends, share this with your family, share this with those who you know are struggling with saying no. Share this with them, okay? And if you are not already, please subscribe to the Me, Myself, and Why podcast. Please follow us on Instagram at Me, Myself, and Why podcast. I am your host, Amy Ricks. I am not a therapist. I am not a counselor. I am, however, your coach, your self-development coach, helping you to unpack you one truth at a time. Are you ready? You ready? All right, let's go. Until next time.